October the 9th, 2025. It's 5:51. I should be out walking my dog, but I'm kind of like thrown off my schedule a little bit, tripping off of stuff, and just, I'm a little high. I hit my pen a couple of times today because I didn't want to be in my head too much, and this seems to get me out of my head. But yesterday, my middle son called me, and he calls me quite often, and I know it's because he missed his girlfriend and he don't want to cheat on his girlfriend, and so I'm kind of like the easy person that he can call, and I'm an answer, and we can hold the phone sometimes and not even say nothing. We just be on it. He be doing something on his phone, I be doing something on mine, but we on the line together. But about a month ago, he showed me a video of my middle son doing a sketch on TikTok. And he didn't even show me the whole video. He just showed me a little glimpse of it and said that my middle son had this new TikTok thing where he was making videos with his friend. And, I felt, in that moment, I felt sad that, I don't get to see him and I don't get to talk to him. And I can't even see him on social media because I'm blocked from all his social media. Now, he told me when I found out I was blocked that every adult, including his father, nobody can see his social media, which I don't think is true. But if it is true, his father gets to see him every day. So, literally all I would have is to be able to see you online. So, I asked my middle son about 3 or 4 weeks after he showed me that video. I asked him to send it to me so I could look at it. Really, all I wanted was try to get his TikTok name, because TikTok won't let me get back into my original account. I had to create a new account. I figured if I could find out his TikTok name, I could see his TikToks since I got a new page. So when I asked him real casually. I did try to, I wasn't acting desperate or anything. I was just like, send me that video of AJ and da-da-da. And he was like, all right. And I asked by text. So it's been 2 or 3 weeks since I asked him for the first time. Maybe 2 weeks since I asked him the first time. So I asked him again yesterday. I ain't even pressuring you. I just, can you send me the video? Man, I asked for that video yesterday and he nut up on me. He started going off on me about how, my son was right here in town, and if I wanted to see my son, I should, he would, if he was him, he would do anything in his power to see his son. Now, my son has made it very clear, my youngest son, that he riding and dying with his daddy. Regardless of the lies that he done told and, the things that he done seen him do with his own eyes, all of that is irrelevant. He riding it down with him. And I'm accepting that. I ain't making no fuss about it. I ain't calling trying to force you to, let me see you. None of that. But my son, my middle son, feel like that's what I should be doing. So he going off on me and telling me that, I'm throwing my hands up to my son, but I chase after a nigga. Then he brought up the fact that when I was married to my youngest son's father that I was investigating him and finding out information about him that he didn't want me to know. So if I wanted to know about my youngest son, I could do that same type of investigation and find out what's going on with my son. I mean, and technically he right, but I, mentally and emotionally, I don't feel no desire to try to find out information about him that he don't want me to know, because he don't want me to know nothing. So what would it benefit me to go and try and find out information about him that he don't want me to know? Now, it benefited me to find out what he was doing behind my back, because he was cheating on me, because I made a decision to be done with the relationship emotionally. Even though I was still physically there, I was gone, long gone. And anybody with any common sense know, as a human being, if somebody is not emotionally connected with you, that relationship is a wash. It's over with. So, maybe I do things a little bit different than some people, but I don't see no reason to do that for my son, who is 19 years old. And he kept calling him a kid. He's a kid, he's a kid, he's a kid. No, he's 19. He 19. Now that make him a man like you because you 33, but he's still a man. He still has intellect. He still has common sense. On whatever level you want to put it on, he have all those things. And if he don't want to deal with me, I'm not going to force him to deal with me. But my son raked me over the coals for, I know, 25 or 30 minutes. Basically saying in every way possible besides directly, you a piss poor mother because you don't want to go and try to make your son know that you miss him. But what he said was, if I was him, I would think you didn't give a fuck. Well, you would think that because you don't give a fuck. Now, I don't care to try to make you love me. If you don't want to have a relationship with me, if you don't want to be in my world, you don't want to connect with me for whatever the reason or excuse is, I don't force nobody. Nobody. I mean nobody to be in my life. If I'm not somewhere you want to be physically, mentally, emotionally, baby, steer clear. Steer clear, because I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm just gonna live how I can. Because I go on with a lot of pain. And I find it odd that he was so upset. My middle son. He was like screaming and yelling, and he was so angry. Saying that, you don't, what was the exact words that he used? You don't fight for us. Saying him and his brothers. And I don't really have anything I can pinpoint and say for sure of what he was talking about. I don't fight for them. But why should I have to? You don't fight for me. You don't have to fight for me, but you don't. Like, why do I, as the female in this situation, have to be the end-all, be-all person all the time? I told him in the text that I sent him today that I've been the man in all y'all life. I ain't never been able to be a soft, cared for woman that anyone, including all my sons, ever treated me like I was fragile. I supposed to be strong. I supposed to handle it no matter what somebody do. I supposed to get, like, even though my son AJ don't call me, he don't want to be, he was restricted by his father for years when I was fighting for him. Literally fighting for him in court. From the time he was 5 years old until now. And I gave up literally last year. And I told him that I was giving up. When he did not invite me to his graduation because his father didn't want me there, I was done. And I told him, I've been fighting for you for years. I'm done. I'm done. Because, dare I say it, a real man would have told his father, my mama coming to my graduation. Maybe if you don't want to come, then don't come. But I'm inviting my mama to, but he didn't feel that way. He felt he should spur his father's feelings. And then my middle son kept telling me that I am the one that messed up his life and mad at him because I messed up his life. My baby son. But I'm confused by that because what I did that messed up his life was sent him to his father. I went to jail for that. I did 7 months in jail for child abuse. June, July, August. Then I got arrested, but I got arrested again for probation violation while I was waiting on to go to court for that June, July, and August. And then I went back in October, November, December, February. But I'm not counting those months. Those months I'm not counting. October, November, December, January, February. I'm not counting those months. But when I went to court, I was sentenced from April to August. April, May, June, July, August. Plus the 3 months that June, July, August of the previous year. So I did 8 months in jail for child abuse, for sending my son to his father on an airplane. Let me throw this in because they think this part is important, with no luggage. I sent him as is when he got out of school, and I talked to his father. And he knew that I was going to send him. Let him tell it. I wasn't going to do it, but he knew that I wasn't going to send him. So he didn't show up at the airport. So my son was at the airport for about 3 hours with the stewardess that I had to pay to travel with a 5-year-old. To my ex sent his mother and sister to go and get him. But I called everybody I knew to go and pick my son up when not one person go and pick him up, including my mother, who I called first. And she literally lived minutes, seconds away from the airport. But she wouldn't go and get him. And she called my best friend and told her the reason why she wasn't going to go and get him because he was spoiled. And I needed to whoop his ass. But that's the circumstances of my son ending up with his father and me ruining his life because I sent him to his father. What is on? Oh, it's gas. I knew something was on. I smelled it. That's been on all day. Ooh, that's been on all day. Oh, wow. Anywho. So my son kept saying, you mad at him for fucking up his life. And that's how he talking to me. Cursing and everything. I ain't saying nothing for real because, like, you don't even know what I went through these years that I've been back and forth and paying attorneys and running up and down the highway. And when this first happened, I was the judge in the case was so evil toward me. She made me fly home every 2 weeks to visit my son. Let me see. I sent him in February. Anthony immediately went and said that I abandoned him in the airport and filed a claim with the Boulder court system. And so once the judge got involved, it was probably late February, early March. And she made me fly back and forth to St. Louis every 2 weeks for March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. For about 9 months. Right before Christmas, I stopped going every 2 weeks. You know how much money that cost me? Just to... I was doing all kind of illegal shit just to do it, too. But for my son to sit up and try to make me feel like, you know, I'm just this horrible person because I won't continue to call my baby son and beg him to allow me to see him. Am I wrong? I feel like I done spent my whole entire life trying to please one man or another. I got 3 sons and 3 husbands from each one of those sons. Don't none of the husbands appreciated me, and none of the sons. And yet, I'm the one that's wrong. Because they literally, my oldest son really hate me. But I realized how much my middle son hate me too. Yesterday. Because to snap on me, because I asked you for a video, that don't even make sense. That's from my Ninja Creamer. I made it. It's, I took some oranges and boiled them. Till it got real soft. And then I mixed them up like a smoothie while it was hot. With a bunch of turmeric powder and coconut cream. With a little bit of lemon. But this is really good. The only way I'll eat it though is if I smoke weed. I don't know why. But I don't suspect I'll be hearing from my middle son too often, because he was calling regularly. But he think that I'm a horrible person for not. He said I would be fighting for my son. He ain't got no kids. I ain't got no grandkids. None of my kids got no kids. But that young one then already had an abortion when he was 16. The father of the little girl told me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known, because my son wasn't going to tell me. And his father don't let me in on nothing. He don't feel like I deserve nothing. Because I wouldn't stay with him after he beat the shit out of me. I'm a horrible person. And everybody that have any connection to him think I'm a bitch from hell. And sending my son to him make me even more of a bitch. Even he think that it's fucked up that I sent his son to him. But I don't even know. I've never cared for myself just for me. Never in my life. Never in my life. All this time that I have been away from my kids in any capacity, I have maintained some 2-bedroom apartment that I did not need, based on whether one of them would need to come and live with me. I got a 2-bedroom right now for nothing. I do nothing with that room. I thought that my youngest son would want to spend some time with me after he was, quote unquote, considered an adult. He ain't been down here to see me but one time. And when he came, he was in the area. Him and his girlfriend was looking for something to eat down the street from where I live at. So he wasn't really over here to visit me. It was just circumference to the food that they wanted. So I want to stop by my mom's house. But I'm moving out this apartment at the end of this year. And I'm getting a 1-bedroom apartment. And if I buy me another car, I'm going to buy me a car small. Something just for me, because I keep buying cars based on where they could be able to sit. Like, all my decision making is based around, you know, whether it's going to be conducive in some way or form for them to be able to live with my decisions. But he telling me yesterday that I don't care about them at all. You a mother, you supposed. That's what he said. You a mother, you supposed to. I'm also a human. I got feelings. You think that you could treat me like shit and I still supposed to be somehow I'ma end this video. One thing that I do feel that I know for a fact is incorrect is I feel like I'm the only person in the world who has children that treat me like my children do. And like I told him in my text that I sent him today, I can admit when I have done wrong. And I can say I'm sorry, but that's not good enough for none of them. And the reason why it's not good enough because I'm willing to do it. It would be good enough if I wasn't willing to say, oh yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. But it would be good enough if I wasn't willing to say it.